Alright, here we go. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm so thankful that you are here to listen to this. For all of you who have been here before, I greatly apologize, sincerely apologize for my delay on getting this to you guys. As I mentioned way back in May, I went to a in-person tournament, a physical tournament where I played with my actual miniatures. It was not on UB. And then I went to that, and then I basically was in the process of my wife and I bought a house, and we moved into our house in June, and then a bunch of things happened through the summer and the fall, and I just did not get around to putting these pictures together and talking about this one-day tournament that I went to. So I'm sorry for the delay, but here it is. I'm just gonna get into this. This is gonna just be a review of this 9th Age Fantasy Battles tournament that I went to called the Pandemic Picnic 2. It happened on May 22nd of 2021. This was a one-day tournament. It was a lot of fun. This was held at a park in southeastern Pennsylvania, kind of way out in the middle of Amish country. Beautiful area. I loved driving there, even though it was a pretty long drive. I had to stay overnight to get there, and then it was a really long drive to come home after I played, but it was fun. It was held outdoors at a park under a pavilion. Due to the nature of the pandemic going on, this was deemed one of the safer ways to do it because we're technically outside. We did have to show proof of vaccination or wear a mask the whole time, so or maybe both. No. Anyway, I remember bringing my vaccine card and I showed that, so there you have it. What else to say? It was hosted by the Green Dragons. Wonderful group of people that put in a lot of work. Thank you to Mark who put it on, and his team. It was just a really good opportunity. I haven't actually been to that many in-person tournaments myself. This was actually really only my second one ever, so it was just a good experience. I was able to meet a lot of people who I've seen their names on the forums, I've played against them or seen their names in Discord and in all the UB tournaments that Alex Schmidt has put on over the last 2 years. But yeah, it was just great playing in person again. So I'm just gonna get into it. So the way this worked, it was a one-day tournament, so you played 3 games. It was 4,500 points, pretty typical for 9th Age. There was no paint score. Painting was not required because Mark just wanted to have people to be able to get together and play with their actual miniatures in person. And if you didn't paint, that wasn't going to be an issue, right? So again, I just want to thank Mark and the Green Dragons for putting this on. So anyway, game 1. This was the only downside of the tournament, I would say, and this is probably just an issue with me not going to. I've only really been to one other tournament before, and that was the well, it wasn't really the Masters tournament. It was held at the same time as the Masters tournament here in Cleveland, Ohio, and so I played in that. And so anyway, the only downside I would say is I checked morning of, or maybe the day before, and they had me matched up against someone else for round 1. And then that guy who I was matched up against for round 1 ended up not coming. So Mark had to change the pairings morning of, and I ended up paired with Owen. And no offense to Owen. Owen was wonderful to play against. I just was expecting to play someone else, and I mentally prepared and studied his list, and I was all ready to go against this other guy, and then he didn't come. And I didn't have time to study Owen's list, and I had no idea what I was doing against him. So anyway, maybe this happens all the times. The pairings change, and that's just part of 9th Age. You have to be flexible, but I wasn't expecting it. I'm used to the online tournaments where you get your pairings, and that's your pairing. That doesn't change. So, whatever. So anyway, I played Owen with his Ogre Cons. Owen, I think has been a long time. He used to play Warhammer Fantasy Battles, but I think he was pretty new to 9th, or at least had taken a break from 9th if he had played before. So I was actually helping him with some of the roles and helping him get started on his day of gaming in person. But he was a really great guy to play against, and he had a beautifully painted army. So many people there, even though paint score wasn't required, they had wonderfully painted armies. I can't believe how well some of these guys paint. So anyway, so round 1 scenario was capture the flags, where you have to kill the scoring units of your opponent, and deployment was dawn assault. These are my in-person, these are some of my pictures. You're going to see a lot more. So this is the list I brought to the tournament. I'm only going to show it here. I'm not going to show it every round. I guess I'll just talk through it real quick. So I had a Marshal on a Great Griffin. I had it with a shield, which for our guard gives a 4-up Aegis save against magical attacks. Hand weapon with Hero's Heart, so I have 4 strength 5 attacks from the Marshal. The Great Griffin has 4 strength 6 attacks and a stomp, so against certain things. So the whole model combined has over 8 strength 5 AP3 attacks, which I think is pretty good. Ghostly Guard gives me +2 armor against non-magical attacks, and Winter Cloak gives me a 5-up Aegis save, distracting, and a 2-up Aegis against flaming. So all told, I basically have, let's see, plate armor and a shield, and mounted and Ghostly Guard. So I have a 1-up, 5-up all the time. No, I have a 1-up, 5-up against non-magical attacks. I have a, it's like a 2-up or 3-up. I have like a 3-up. I have a 3-up, 4-up against magical attacks, and if it's flaming, it's a 3-up, 2-up. Anyway, I thought it was pretty beefy. Anyway, then we have a Marshal, BSB, 2 Aether Icons, and a Great Weapon. Wizard on an Arcane Engine with Foresight, which I probably should have taken the other Arcane Engine. That's something to be discussed. Anyway, Wizard Adept on Divination, of course, Assault Fusion, Talisman of Shielding for protection, and then I had another Adept on Pyro. The Arcane Engine Foresight is the one that gives lightning reflexes, and the bound spell that comes in that version is Ice and Fire, I believe. Inquisitor with a shield. This was my Inquisitor build. I tried out in a couple UB games beforehand, and I actually really like it. With paired weapons and supernatural dexterity, I had like offense 8 and like agility 6 or 7, and so this Inquisitor can actually, take on elves that at least it should be kind of scary against elves at least. And then Black Steel gives fear and more armor, and then Blessed Steel gives a D3 wounds and lethal strike. So pretty nice. Prelit with paired weapons and plate armor. I guess I didn't have the points for the locket. That's actually a really weird prelit build for me. I probably didn't have the points, but anyway. I usually take my prelit with the locket, Destiny's Call, and paired weapons with Titanic Might is my preferred prelit build, and that's 200 points exactly. But that's if I bring the prelit as a general, which I was not doing in this game, in this tournament. Alright, then for core, we got a huge block of heavy infantry with spears, and a Rending Banner for that extra AP. We got a big unit of light infantry handgunners with Marksman's Pennant, another smaller unit, medium unit of handgunners, and then a unit of crossbows, a pretty nice sized unit of Imperial Guard with either icon, then a cannon, a mortar, a rocket, and 30 flagellants. So, if you look at this list, you're probably like, what in the world? What is Roman doing? First of all, he has no steam tank. That's right. Those of you who have watched my channel before and my Empire list, I don't play with a steam tank. A couple of reasons for that. I don't want to get into the weeds too much about it, but basically, number one, I don't own a steam tank. So that's one reason. Number two reason is I don't like playing things that feel obligatory to take. So if a lot of Empire players say the steam tank is so good, you have to take it. To me, that means, well, I'm not going to take it then, because that feels like it just boxes me in a corner. So Same thing with Sylvan Elves. A lot of Sylvan Elf players say you have to take 2 units of 10 Sentinels because otherwise, what do against monsters? Well, that feels obligatory. That boxes me into a corner. If I'm spending, if I'm dropping 450 points on a steam tank, that already is blocking out part of my list, and I then am restricted on what else I can take. So I prefer to remove that restriction and just take what I want. The other thing about this list that probably looks a little funny, basically, these are the miniatures that I had, and even though it wasn't mandated that I bring painted miniatures, I wanted to. Like, we're playing in person. I tried really hard to get 3 colors on these guys. I had to build more Imperial Guard and slap 3 colors or 4 colors of paint on them. I had to paint more heavy infantry. My crossbows, I don't actually own any Empire crossbows, so I used dwarf crossbows for my crossbows. And then I used so many handguns because I literally only own handguns for Empire. I have about 45 or 50 handgunners for Empire, so that's why I use handgunners when I'm playing in person. So there you have it. Okay, and then here was the ogre list I played against. It's ogre stuff. Well, he only had 1 mammoth hunter. He did take a Khan, which you don't see that often. He had the shaman with the Liger's tongue, which I really dislike when I'm playing with my elves, because that, what is that? That is it reduces the number of attacks, anyway, in base contact. Big unit of tribesmen with the pen of the Great Grass Sky. A couple units of bruisers for soaring darts. The Merc Vets, which I had no clue how dangerous they would be. Yetis, Thunder Cannon, and Frostbite. Pretty good list. Okay, so here we go. The moment you've been waiting for. You get to see actual pictures of the army. I've been playing Empire like most of 2021. I started playing Empire seriously end of 2020, and I was playing on UB, and I've never shown you guys almost a lot of pictures. So anyway, this is what my army looks like at the moment. It's a work in progress, of course, but here we go. So you can see from left to right, we have my Marshal on a Great Griffin, my big Flagellant block in yellow, a unit of this is my smaller unit of handgunners, right? Yeah, this is my unit of 15 handgunners. Pretty sure. With the cannon behind them. Then I put my unit of spears. Then I have my unit of crossbows next to them for supporting fire. A big unit of handgunners down here with my pyro mage in it, with the mortar and rocket behind. And my big unit of Imperial Guard on the right with the Arcane Engine behind that. So, I'm not going to just go through each turn like a regular battle report because this was so long ago I don't remember and it would be disastrous. But anyway, a couple thoughts here, overview of the game. Just from looking at it now and from what I've learned in the months since, this is a terrible deployment. Why did I have... My Imperial Guard are one of the only things that can actually fight him, and I put them way on this flank. I was hoping to outflank him, of course, but he's so fast, even though my Imperial Guard can move pretty quickly, they can't actually really, he can just come in and smash my army before my Imperial Guard can get into combat. So this was a terrible deployment. I should have had my Imperial Guard and my Arcane Engine in the middle, put my Flagellants on a flank, because having Imperial Guard and spears in the middle would have been a lot better. So anyway, that's where we have it. Of course, my Marshal is back here hiding from the cannon. So there you go. Yeah. So anyway, he's coming forward. I think he got first turn, which means I got to pick the sides. He got first turn. Ogres move so fast. He just comes up on me like this. Yeah, he's just coming up on me. This was just terrible for my shooting too because he was able to get into the woods and I couldn't shoot him. So it was I was expecting to just shoot him to pieces and I was not really able to. So then on my turn, you see my Marshal, my general, I flew out on his flank to threaten his flank like this, and I have my Inquisitor who's just chilling back here. I think that was to prevent his Mammoth Hunter. I don't know where his Mammoth Hunter is. That's to prevent his Mammoth Hunter from coming around. So anyway, there we have it. All right. The main things from this game, you can see already by the turn 2 or something, he was able to charge in to my units. And then I flew my Marshal Great Griffin over here. I knew the cannon was a threat, but I figured with a 5-up Aegis save, maybe I had a chance. And he actually he shot his cannon and he killed my Griffin. I failed my 5-up Aegis save. He killed my Griffin, my general, and that whole flank. So I played a little aggressive, but that's what you do when it's the first game at a tournament. One day you got to play aggressive if it's a one day because you only have 3 games. So it is what it is. I just wanted to play with my miniatures, try to get my Griffin into combat, and there you go. All right. These are these Merc vets. They're just slaughtering my crossbows. Yeah. Anyway, so there you have it. It was a pretty quick game. I think we only got to turn 4. And then we were out of time because playing in person, you only have like, I think it was 3 hours. It was either 2:45 or 3 hours to play games, which is really fast for me. You have to really be popping, and I was helping Owen a lot with some rules because, as I said before, he was just coming back to 9th age. So anyway, it didn't matter. It was pretty clear. Already by that point, it was a 3-17. He was already, he already had one objective by killing civil scoring units, and I didn't really have that much of a hope. I had my Imperial Guard, which I would have been able to take out this unit and maybe get into his Mammoth or something, but by that point, he had already was cleaning up the rest of my army. So it wasn't that big of a deal that we didn't get through all the turns. Anyway, good game, Owen. So then I go on to game 2 where I played against Josh Austin with Dwarven Holds, and this was secure target and marching columns. So anyway, this is his dwarf list. Basically, he had King of Shield Bearers. Anyway, he had an engineer. Yeah, so he had the anvil. So he did have some magic with the anvil. He had a decent block of Greybeards, a bunch of crossbows, a nice block of Kingsguard, a nice block of Deep Watch, some copters, and then an organ gun and a dwarf cannon. So we actually were pretty evenly matched with between our shooting and our small arms fire. And then he had 3 big blocks, and I basically had 3 big blocks, and then he had some chaff, and we had a little bit differences there. But actually, our lists are kind of similar, as similar as you can get going from a different faction to a different faction. So anyway, I'm trying to remember who deployed first, but anyway, here it is. Highlights from our game. Again, I made the same mistake, right? I put my Arcade Engine and my Imperial Guard on a flank instead of in the middle. I don't know why I did that. I don't remember at this point. Handgunners, I thought I made a better decision about, they're behind this water feature, so he's got to come through water if he wants to get to me. Flagellants are in the middle, where spears are kind of defending this flank. And again, I have my Griffin on this flank, just kind of trying to secure and lock down this flank. So it's kind of a pretty similar deployment to my first game. I guess I didn't learn enough from that first game. Highlights from this game: my cannon, my rocket, and my mortar were on point. I was able to eliminate his cannon and his organ gun like on turn 1, so he wasn't able to use them. And then from there, even though his crossbows outranged me, because I took out his artillery first, I was then able to direct my artillery on his copters and on his shooting. And then what my Griffin's going to be doing is he's going to fly around here and basically try to take out his crossbows, so his crossbows will no longer be a threat. So there you have that. I, of course, love to cast Flaming Swords on my handgunners and on my mortar. That's why I deploy usually the big unit of handgunners right next to my mortar, and I put my Adept and Pyro Adept in there so I can do bubble Flaming Swords and just make basically a battery. And like, people can't get to my battery. They have to fight Flagellants and Imperial Guard to get into my battery. So that's how I like to deploy this army, this list. So yeah. On this right flank, we just kind of stood apart from each other, and I was trying to shoot his copters and kill him, which I was able to do, I believe. And then we're fighting over these objectives. So my Imperial Guard do have to end up fighting. I believe this is his Deep Watch unit. It might be his King's Guard unit. Here you can see my Griffin is just chewing up some dwarf crossbowers, having a nice old time there. Here we go. My Imperial Guard were actually able to take on this dwarf unit, even though I think they were stubborn. I'm pretty sure they're the King's Guard, so they're stubborn. So it took me a couple turns, but I did have the because I have lightning reflexes, then I'm able to go before him with my great weapon unit, and I'm in line formation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm in line formation, and this is my BSB right here on the corner. So anyway, so that's going well. My flagellants are fighting against his. I think these are his Deep Watch. That one's not going so well. Or maybe these are his King's Guard. Anyway, this unit is just chewing up my flagellants. that must be his King's Guard, and I'm probably fighting his Deep Watch with my Imperial Guard. And then I do remember this unit on this flank were his Greybeards, which I was pretty worried about. Because, yeah, I have my spear block with my Inquisitor in here, and I have shooting. But the Greybeards are tough. Yeah, he's got a King on Shield Bearers in here. And I was able to get my Griffin to charge the flank, or the rear of the Greybeards. So that prevented them from charging my crossbows, which was nice. Then I was able to get my spears to help clean up this unit that was stuck fighting my prelate. And that's basically all I remember. And it was a 14-6 win. Josh was a great guy to play about. He was just there to have fun. He didn't care. I would gladly play him again. I felt bad I took out his artillery so early he wasn't able to use it. But anyway, good luck, Josh. I hope to see you again at a future tournament. And then game 3, I played Ivo. I think Ivo's from New York. Anyway, he had Warriors of the Dark Gods. We had Hold Center and Frontline Clash, which is pretty typical for the last game at a tournament in the USA. His list is crazy. Look at this. Chosen Lord on a Karkadon. Chosen Lord on Karkadon. Sorcerer on a Chariot. So far, that's 3 models so far. He does have a big block of 30 Warriors, Great Weapon. By the way, this is his core. He has 1 block for his core. 30 Warriors of Great Weapons, Zealous Banner. That's a nasty block to fight. Then he had a unit of 5 Chosen Knights, which are basically knights on Karkadons, with Sloth. He had 2 units of those, and then 10 Warrior Knights. So all total, he has 1, 2, 3, 33, 38, 43, 53 models in the unit, in the army. Excuse me. Anyway, he really only, though, because his Karkadon generals go in these Chosen Knight units, he basically has the Chariot unit, the Warrior unit, 2 Knight, and 3 Knight units. So he basically has, like, 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 5 units on the board. Anyway, Ivo's army. I mean, Owen's army was painted very, very well. Ivo's army was crazy. Like, I don't know if he painted it or if he paid. It was, like, the highest professional level. I could not believe it. It was all gold and black, very beautifully painted. So anyway, this is the way I deployed. You can see I'm learning. I put my 2 tough bricks here. The spears, I knew couldn't really fight him head on, so they're going to try to swing around and outflank him once he tries to come in. And there you have it. I did put my small unit of crossbows over here just to distract him, because I figured if he has so few units, so if he sends one of his big units, well, he has so few units. Like I said, he has 5 units. So if he sends a unit to kill these crossbows, which are like, I don't know, 190 points or something, that's a waste of his time. So that's why I did that. Anyway, it's Hold the Center. He just pushes up on the center, and he's basically got objective locked down. I was hoping that my rocket and my cannon could take off several Karkadans. That did not work super well. I don't think I was able to get flaming swords off very well, so my shooting wasn't really doing that much against him because he had so much armor, even though I have handgunners. So there you have it. As I'm looking at these pictures, I have no idea why I deployed this way. This is a terrible movement. Okay, my Imperial Guard did a reform, They either reformed or I failed a charge. I might have failed a charge. Because I can't believe for the life of me why I would have reformed them this way. Look, if he charges me, I can't countercharge. Like, there's no way they can get past my handgunners. So I might have charged him, but yeah, it was dumb. It was dumb. Anyway, you can just look at he even has matching dice for his units. How cool is that? Way to go, Ivo. Okay, this is the thing. We did have to get someone to come over and help us with the rules question. So he had this unit. This unit over here, these are his warrior knights, okay? His warrior knights were in the flank of my flagellants. Now, I thought that because I knew he was in my flank, but this is an impassable. So he wouldn't be able to charge me, even though he can see my front, because he's in my flank facing. So he has to hit my flank facing, and he can't really hit my flank facing. Well, the way we ruled it was as long as he could just hit my corner, because he can come in and he can hit my corner of my flank, then I have to align to him. So I was disappointed. I didn't think that's the way it worked, and I was trying to block him. We played it out this way. I mean, if you hit flagellants in the flank, they're kind of pointless. I mean, yeah, they're unbreakable, but they have such low discipline, they're not going to be able to reform. So, anyway, that role is still really confusing for me. Like, it should just be you can't charge me. You have to get into my front facing if you want to charge me. I feel like there's a way to use impassibles to block people from charging you, but I don't know how to do that. I guess. I don't know how to do it. So if someone in the comments, if you could tell me how to use an impassable to prevent someone from blocking me, from charging me in the flank, please let me know. Please let me know. Anyway, so there you have it. This game, again, I think I deployed too far forward. Anyway, he just came forward. Now that he's in the flank of my flagellants, this isn't going to go very well. He's got objective locked down. His warrior knights charged my Imperial Guard. I thought I could take him. No. He just ripped him to pieces. Anyway, this game was over very quickly. At the end, I did charge my Griffin into this unit of Karkadans. I thought maybe I had a chance at killing his... I think his general was in there. Anyway, I thought I had a chance at like killing a character and getting points for the character in the unit and actually saving something. But no, he killed me. And we only played like 3 turns, and we only had to play 3 turns because all I had left was the unit of spears, and I just knew at that point there's nothing I could do. So I took a goose egg on the last one. So anyway, great game from Ivo. A very tough list. I've never seen that list before. Now that I've faced it once, I still don't really know how I would face it, and just you can see from the 3 lists I faced, like what it's like going to an in-person tournament. How would you build an army knowing, like, if I knew I was going to face those 3 lists, how would I build an empire list that could handle all 3 of those lists? Like, it's very difficult. So anyway, it is what it is. I'm surprised Iowa didn't run over everyone because with that list, I'm still processing how I would handle that. Anyway, so here we go. There were 36 people in the tournament for one day, which is great. And I ended up 32nd. So not dead last, but only 17 battle points after 3 games. Disappointing. Thought I would do better than that, but getting a 0 that last game really hurt, and only getting 3 that first game really hurt. So it is what it is. Again, it was a lot of fun. I don't know if Mark's planning on doing Pandemic Picnic 3 this new year. It was called Pandemic Picnic because in fall of 2020 they did Pandemic Picnic 1 because in 2020 they basically had to cancel all the tournaments, and that fall Mark and Gene just decided, we want to have an in-person tournament, just a one-day. How can we make it happen? We can play it outside at a park. And that's why it's one day, because it's just a lot of work. They had to basically tear down stuff and then set it all back up the next day. Like, you couldn't leave stuff set up because it's outside, right? So, So that's what it is. If he holds it again, I would love to go to it, even though it's like a 6-hour drive or something. But there's really not that many other tournaments that I can go to. I really love that it was a 1 day, because with my work schedule and just where my life is, 1 days are actually a lot easier for me to do than 2 days. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you are painting and getting your miniatures ready. We're approaching 2022 very quickly, and there's going to be more in-person tournaments. There's already been several this fall in the North America and the USA, and I just was unable to go to them because I was working crazy. I was crazy busy this fall, and I'm now looking for some tournaments for the next spring in person. And I finally, in my new house, in my office, I just set up a table where I can work on miniatures and leave them out, which I haven't really ever had before. I've always had to put my miniatures away, which, you know, at the end of a painting session, which is a pain. I'd rather just leave them out, and then I can just pick them up and paint a little bit here and there, and then they'll get done eventually. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Thank you so much for watching this. Just remember to be the player that somebody wants to play again. Take care.